Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashta Prayeshvabhadrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyutama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So we're reading today Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahapurana, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Prayers by the Demigods, text 11 and 12. Namadheyani kurvanti stanani cha nara bhuvi durgeti bhadrakaliti vijaya Vaishnaviti cha kumuda chandika Krishna Madhavi Kanyaketi cha Maya Narayani Ishani Sharada Iti Ambika Iti Cha Kumuda Chandika Krishna Kumuda Chandika Krishna Madhavi Kanyaketi Cha Madhavi Kanyaketi Cha Maya Narayani Shani Maya Narayani Shani Sharadeti Sharadetambiketi Cha Sharadetambiketi Cha. I will read the first verse. Namadheni kurvanti sthanani cha narabhuvi durgeti bhadrakaliti vijaya vaishnaviti cha. Namadheyani, different names. Kurvanti, will give. Sthanani, in different places. Cha, also. Naraha, persons interested in material enjoyment. Bhuvi, on the surface of the globe. Durga iti, the name Durga. Bhadrakali, the name Bhadrakali. Vijaya, the name Vijaya. Vaishnavi iti, the name Vaishnavi. Cha, also. Kumuda, the name Kumuda. Chandika, the name Chandika. Krishna, the name Krishna. Madhavi, the name Madhavi. Kanyaka iti, the name Kanyaka. O Kanyakumari. Cha, also. Maya, the name Maya. Narayani, the name Narayani. Ishani, the name Ishani. Sharada, the name Sharada. Iti, thus. Ambika, the name Ambika. Iti, also. Cha, and. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Krishna blessed Maya Devi by saying, in different places on the surface of the earth, people will give you different names, such as Durga, Bhadrakali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kumuda, Chandika, Krishna, Madhavi, Kanyaka, Maya, Narayani, Ishani, Sharada, and Ambika. Purport. Because Krishna and his energy appeared simultaneously, people have generally formed two groups, the Shaktas and the Vaishnavas. And sometimes there is a rivalry between them. Especially those who are interested in material enjoyments are Shaktas. And those interested in spiritual salvation and attaining the spiritual kingdom are Vaishnavas. Because people are generally interested in material enjoyment, they are interested in worshipping Maya Devi, the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vaishnavas, however, are Shuddha Bhaktas, or pure Bhaktas, because Hare Krishna Mahamantra indicates worship of the Supreme Lord energy, Hara. A Vaishnava prays to the energy of the Lord for the opportunity to serve the Lord along with his spiritual energy. Thus Vaishnavas all worship such deities as Radha Krishna, Sita Rama, Lakshmi Narayana, and Rukmini Dwarakadisha. Whereas Durga Shaktas worship the material energy under different names. The names by which Maya Devi is known in different places have been listed by Vallabhacharya as follows. In Varanasi, she is known as Durga. In Avanti, she is known as Bhadrakali. In Arisa, she is known as Vijaya. And in Kulahapura, nowadays Kolhapur, she is known as Vaishnavi or Mahalakshmi. The representatives of Mahalakshmi and Ambika are present in Bombay. In country known as Kamarupa, she is known as Chandika. In northern India, Uttar Pradesh, she is known as Sharada, and in Komarin as Kanyaka. Thus she is distributed according to various names in various places. Sri Vijayadvaja Tirthapada and his Padaratnavali Tika has explained the meaning of different representations. Maya is known as Durga because she is approached with great difficulty, as Bhadra because she is auspicious, and Kali because she is deep blue. Because she is the most powerful energy, she is known as Vijaya. Because she is one of the different energies of Vishnu, she is known as Vaishnavi. And because she enjoys the material world and gives facilities for material enjoyment, she is known as Kumuda. Because she is very severe to her enemies, the Asuras, she is known as Chandika. And because she gives all sorts of material facilities, she is called Krishna. In this way, the material energy is differently named and situated in different places on the surface of the globe. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namadheyani kurvanti stanani cha nara bhuvi durgyati badrakaliti vijaya vaishnaviti cha kumuda chandika krishna madhavi kanyaketi cha maya narayani shani sharadet ambiketi cha. Lord Krishna blessed Maya Devi by saying, in different places on the surface of the earth, people will give you different names such as Durga, Bhadrakali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kumuda, Chandika, Krishna, Madhavi, Kanyaka, Maya, Narayani, Ishani, Sharada, and Ambika. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyade Shatarine Vanchakalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Ajanulambita bhujau kanakavadatu sankirtanai kapitaro kamalai takshi vishvambaro dvijavaro yugadharma pala Vande jagat priya karo karunavatharu yantah pravishya mama vachimamam prasuptam sanjivayata kila shakti darak svadhamna nyamscha hasta charana shravanatva gadim pranannamo bhagavate purushaya. Hare Krishna. So, Lord Krishna is giving orders and blessings to Maya Devi. First, he gave her order to transfer Balaram from the womb of Devaki Mata to Rahini Mata. And here in this verse, he is giving the blessings to Maya Devi. It's basically, the philosophy behind this is that we should all follow the orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and blessings is attached. Blessings will come automatically. We shouldn't be too much after the blessings. We should be after the service. This desire to serve should be very strongly established in our heart. And Krishna will give blessings. He is ready to give blessings. He is very kind and he is very benevolent. He is actually eager to give blessings to anyone who serves him. So here he gives very generous and very amazing blessings to Maya Devi. First of all, he is in great ecstasy, chants her names. He actually glorifies Maya Devi. And Srila Prabhupada, he explains in the purport in the beginning that Krishna and his energy appeared simultaneously, and therefore people generally form two groups. And Vallabhacharya in his Subodhini Tika to Srimad Bhagavatam, he explains that by chanting the names of Maya Devi, chanting the names of his energy, Krishna shows his closeness to her. There is very close and intimate relationship between God and his energy. And therefore, Prabhupada mentions that even in Hare Krishna mantra there is Hara and Hari. And they even almost called the same. So, there is a great tendency among people to separate the energy from the energetic source. And if we see around the globe how people worship God or worship His energy, we can see that either they try to worship God, separating Him from His energy, like in so-called monotheistic religions of the world, great monotheistic religions. They are very much afraid of even mentioning His energy. They're saying He is supreme, He is, and we should all only worship God, not anyone else. Don't worship anyone else. There is only one God. You should worship Him. And, if you even mention somebody who is close to Him, you are heretic. And like in, we know in the Muslim religion, they are very paranoid and particular that, you cannot, there is only one God. He is the only worshipable object. Nobody else is worshipable. And on the contrary, there are many religions who have the leniency or tendency to worship the energy. By monotheistic religions, the followers of monotheistic religions, they are condescendingly called pagans. And and they worship energy of the Lord in many different forms. Not always understanding the connection with the Lord. But the tendency is like this. And when you worship the Lord alone, without His energy, then inevitably there will be emphasis in your religious practice on a complete renunciation. Because the Lord, He is there, He is alone, nobody is around Him, He is almighty, so everything else is just not worthy of our attention. And this extreme renunciation, which sometimes is manifested in different forms of Christianity, actually is very, in one sense, repulsive, because it's not natural. These extreme forms of renunciation are not really natural and spontaneous. And therefore, people ultimately reject these fanatical forms of religion, which insist or emphasize the worship of Lord alone, without His energy. And on the contrary, we can see that those people who have the tendency, like Prabhupada, he mentions here Shaktas, those who have the leniency towards Lord's energy, they ultimately neglect the Lord. Like the Shaktas, they say that, it's the great Shakti who is the origin of everything, and Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, and even Lord Shiva, and they just born from the great Shakti. The Shaktas, they have this very amazing theory that Shakti is supreme, and it's the Shakti alone somehow or other gave birth to the male principle. Somehow or other she managed to create the male principle without the help of the male principle, whereas in reality it doesn't really happen. So, but they have this theory or have this philosophy that there is one great Shakti, and this great Shakti, she produces all these male gods, but ultimately she is supreme, and all these male gods, they are her, how to say this, her, how you call this, handpick husbands? Handpick husbands. She has many husbands, and they all have handpacks. That's their tendency. And the implication of this tendency, as Prabhupada mentions here, the Shaktas, they have very strong tendency to enjoy the energy. Why do they worship the energy of the Lord? Not completely selflessly. They worship the energy of the Lord with a very clear purpose. They want to enjoy the energy of the Lord. And trying to enjoy the energy of the Lord, they are separating her from the energetic source. They prefer not to see the connection of the real enjoyer of the energy. The tendency or the philosophy behind this, the psychology behind this. If I want to enjoy the energy, I have to somehow or other push away the real enjoyer of the energy, the Supreme Lord. And therefore, we have these two groups of people. One are extreme renunciates, or they emphasize renunciation, which is not natural. But ultimately, the other group of people also bring about very strange sort of philosophy of enjoyment in this world, which is ultimately not natural. Why it is not natural? Because if we emphasize or we live the life of complete enjoyment, then it will give rise to all sort of perversiveness. And ultimately it's not even healthy, to live this sort of life, which people who enjoy the energy or try to enjoy the energy. And therefore, this energy punishes them. It's amazing, the implication of this verse is very grave. When you try to worship the energy alone, without the connection, without understanding her connection with the Supreme Lord, then the energy will punish such worshippers. Those people who hope to enjoy the material energy by worshipping her alone without her connection with the Supreme Lord, they become the objects of her punishment. It is depicted in the story of Jada Bharata in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when these dacoits who were worshippers of Bhadrakali, of this ferocious form of Durga Devi, tried to sacrifice Jada Bharata to her, then she very nicely reciprocated with their worship. So that's what she did. She came out from her murti and chopped their heads according to the name of Chandi, which is given in this verse. So that's another ridiculous tendency, try to enjoy the material energy without the connection. And therefore, the proper way of worship the energy of the Lord is by understanding the connection between the energy and the Supreme Lord. And there is definitely the energy of the Supreme Lord is worshipable. There is no doubt about it. Krishna himself proclaims this. He says, people will worship you, and that's his blessings. Krishna is not against worship of the material energy. But he wants also us to understand this close connection between him and the energy of the Lord. So, energy of the Lord plays a very important role. The material energy of the Lord, why Krishna gives these blessings, is because material energy of the Lord has two basic functions, two vrittis. Two basic functions of the material energy is avidya shakti and vidya shakti. There are two aspects of material energy, and one is the bewildering Shakti. Maya Devi has this bewildering Shakti or bewildering influence in the minds of people. She is glittering, and the glow of her majesty attracts people. And because people are so attracted, they become blinded by this glow or this effulgence of material energy. And she attracts them, and by this attraction or by this basically illusion, when they try to enjoy, she gives them punishment in the form of material sufferings. And at the same time, being Maya, she always says, you will enjoy very soon. You want enjoyment? No problem. Very soon you will enjoy. Try more hard. A little more hard. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, in commenting this verse, Srishti Striti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka Chaeva Yasya Bhuvanani Bibharti Durga Ichano Rupa Api Yasya Chachesta Tesa Govinda Madipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. The verse from Brahma Samhita which describes the function of Maya. Srishti Striti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka. There is only one energy of the Lord. And this one energy of the Lord, which manifests here in this material world, Srishti, she produces this material world, she creates this material world. Sthiti, she maintains this material world. Pralaya, she destroys this material world. And Chaeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga, and this energy of the Lord, material energy of the Lord is Chaya. She is just a shadow of the spiritual energy. The Lord has only one energy, and this energy manifests in different ways, and this Maya energy is the shadow of his spiritual energy. Chaeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga. Ichanurupapi Yasya Chachesta Tesa. But she is only doing what he wants to do. The actual function of the energy is to fulfill the will of her master. Ichanurupa Api Yasya Chachesta Tesa. All her endeavors, all her movements is to fulfill the desire of the Lord. So the desire of the Lord is, there are two desires of the Lord. One desire of the Lord is to teach those foolish living entities who try to enjoy independently of him. And Maya is perfectly doing this. Perfectly doing this. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he gives a very interesting example of this. He says that what Maya does, Maya covers our consciousness. There are two aspects of Maya, avaranatmika Shakti and prakshepatmika Shakti. So first of all, for those who want to enjoy independently, she, following the order or desire of the Supreme Lord, she covers over our consciousness by basically by this ignorance, so that we don't understand our spiritual nature. We forget our spiritual nature. That's the first function of the Maya, to forget that you're spirit soul. And if you still think that you're the body, you are Maya Das. You are still the servant of Maya. So that is the first function. The second function is Prakshepatmika Shakti or Vikshepatmika Shakti. She is projecting the consciousness of the living entity completely on this material energy. And by this projection, we identify with something which we are not. First, she covers over the our real understanding, real knowledge that we are spirit, soul, servant of the Lord, and then she gives us the material body and very nicely projects our consciousness into this material body. And we think we are material body and we are happily enjoying this material body, jumping around, running around this material world, going to this supermarket and that supermarket and trying to get cheap things for enjoyment. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada says that these bodies which Maya gives us, they are like robes which the superintendent of the prison gives to the prisoners. You know, when you enter to the prison, the superintendent has, you know, special robes for the prisoners. And there is plenty of these robes. You know, they usually have different, like, you know, special design. And they usually have the number, special number on the back. So, and we are very proud, you know, I have such a nice robe. We come to the mirror and we look at this robe which Maya Devi gave us. Whereas in reality, it's just a robe of a prisoner. It's ugly. You know, from the point of view of normal people who are dressed in a nice robe, you know, all these prisoners, they're completely ugly. But prisoners think, you know, see, such a nice robe I have. Very new, very fresh. It's glowing. So this is what Maya Devi does. She is Durga, she is punishing. Why she is punishing? Because Krishna wants her to punish us. It's ultimately Krishna's will, but Krishna, he himself, you know, he distances himself a little bit. He says, you punish them, I don't want to have anything to do with this. Krishna is actually detached from Maya. Maya, because she has such an ungrateful job of punishing jivas, she is even afraid to come in front of Krishna. When Srila Vyasadeva saw in his vision all the energies of the Lord, he saw this Purusham Purnam. One of the readings of this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam from the first canto, he saw Purusham Purnam means Krishna with all his energy. And separately he saw Maya. Why it is said that he saw separately Maya? Is it not enough to say that he saw Purusham Purnam? Which means the Purusha, the original male principle, with all his energies. No, because Maya has a very special function, and because directly Krishna has nothing to do with her. Even though he is Ichanurupa, Apiyasya Chachesta Tesa, she is following his orders and she is doing whatever he tells you. And here he says, you know, I'll give you these blessings, people will worship you in different places under different names. But ultimately Krishna himself distances from Maya. You know, like in the police, usually there is a good cap and a bad cap, you know. When they want you to do something, there is somebody who is bad, and he presses you very hard, and he is very harsh to you, and he punishes you. And there is somebody who is nice to him, who is next to him, and he is nice to you, and he says, no, you are really nice. So Krishna, he distances himself from this function of punishing jivas. But ultimately it's his desire. We have to understand that Krishna, he teaches us. He is kind, but he understands that we're so foolish that we will never be able to understand anything unless we are in this school of hard knocks. What is Maya? What is this material world? This is the school of hard knocks. It's nothing else. It's a really hard school, but why do we need it? Sometimes people, they become, bitter, and they say, what kind of God he is, why there is so much sufferings. There's so much sufferings only because there is so much foolishness. And those who are not so foolish, they suffer less. Krishna gave all these scriptures, and he, in these scriptures, he explains how you should behave in this world. And if you strictly follow the scriptures, the rules of the scriptures, how to deal with this material energy, that the sufferings are minimized. All the sufferings in this material world, because people are so foolish, and in their foolishness, they're trying to go out of the boundaries. We can enjoy in this material world, there is no doubt about it. But there is strict boundaries within which we can enjoy. We can enjoy sattvic food, no problem. But if we try to enjoy some other food, there will be problems. We can enjoy fruits and vegetables, and the enjoyment is the natural side product, side effect of this. But if the enjoyment becomes the primary goal, if we only try to maintain ourselves to serve the Lord, the enjoyment will come. The sex enjoyment is there. It's natural in one sense. If we know the purpose of the sex and do it in a proper way, sex is not bad. Krishna himself says that he is the sex according to Dharma Virudha Kamosmi. I am Kama according to the religious principles. And the side effect of this is enjoyment. No problem. Krishna is not miserly. He gave us plenty of enjoyment even in this material world. But he also gave us the boundaries. And he says very clearly that if we transgress these boundaries and somehow or other by foolishness will make the enjoyment as our primary goal, as we make the goal of our life as the enjoyment in this material energy, we will suffer. And this is the lesson which we will have to understand. Simple lesson, very natural lesson. God is very fair. He is not unfair. He is not cruel. He just wants us to become very clear about this. Yes, you can enjoy in this material world, but this is not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to serve. The meaning of life is to realize your potential fully, completely in the service of the Lord. And then enjoyment will come. And actually, Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna wants us to enjoy in the spiritual world. He wants us to share his enjoyment. He doesn't want us to suffer in this material world by pretending that we can be independent, because the energy is not independent, and we are the energy of the Lord. In this material world, we jivas and the material energy, they have peculiar differences. The material energy is both energies. Energies are always asvatantra. They're always dependent on the Lord. Energy have to understand its proper position. The only one who is independent is the Lord himself. He is Purusha. He is independent enjoyer. We are Asvatantra. He is Svatantra, we are Asvatantra. But the peculiarity of us as Jiva Shakti is that we have the independent will. Our will is independent. We are given a minute portion of Krishna's Ichha Shakti. Krishna has this Ichha Shakti. He has his Svatantrata, he has his independence, and his Ichha Shakti is there, his desire. So his energy usually fulfills all the desires of the Lord. Ichhana Rupa apiyasya chachestatesya. She is Anurupa according to his Ichha. His will is supreme, even in this material world. But when we foolishly think that when we misuse our free will, this minute Shakti which Lord has given to us, the Shakti or ability to desire independently, if we don't try to harmonize our desires with the desire of the Lord, then we will suffer. So the whole idea is very simple. There is only one male, that's the Lord, Krishna. He comes in different forms and different images, and there is energy. She is also one. There is only one energy, one Supreme Lord, one energy. But as much as Krishna comes in different forms, his energy also takes different forms. And we are also a form of Krishna's energy. But what we should do? Ichhanurupa. We should consciously, because we are given this gift of independent consciousness, we should consciously exercise our free will to become dependent on the Lord. Remaining independent. Being conscious, we are independent. Independence is given to us by the Lord in the form of the energy of consciousness. But the proper use of this independence is to become freely, according to our free will, to become dependent on the Lord. And that brings complete joy to the Lord. He is not enjoyed by the material energy, because material energy is dull. Only we who are dull can enjoy the material energy which is dull, because we are dull. Therefore, we're trying to get this dull enjoyment by being implicated in this material energy. But the Lord is not dull. He also enjoys. But how he enjoys? He enjoys by entering into the relationship with those particles of him who have free will. And this relationship is the real source of enjoyment, both for the living entity and for the Lord himself. That's the highest enjoyment, when we try to understand the desire of the Lord and fulfill this desire by our free will. The Lord is enjoying our endeavors, even though these endeavors may be very childish, but still he's enjoying. He looks at some bhakta and he's, this bhakta is struggling, Hare Krishna, but he's sincerely struggling. And Lord says, oh, such a nice jiva, such a nice soul. So this, when we sincerely try to manifest our emotions towards the Lord, that's the enjoyment for us, and that's the enjoyment for the Lord. Like there is a story which happened here. Prabhupada was here, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj was reading a letter which came to Srila Prabhupada from one of his disciples who was struggling with following the regulative principles. And he was explaining how he got implicated into this Maya, into this Shakti, and enjoyment in this Shakti, started taking drugs again, but he's struggling, he's trying to overcome it, but again he falls victim. And Srila Prabhupada started crying. And he said, just see how he is struggling for Krishna. This is how Prabhupada saw it. And for Prabhupada, these emotions, even though maybe not so completely pure from his disciples, but the sort of transcendental ecstasy. Because his tears, which he manifested, was his ecstasy. He saw the manifestation of love in this bewildered jiva, but he also saw the sincerity of purpose, this desire to serve the Lord somehow or other, even though it's so difficult. And he was, in one sense, transcendentally enjoying this. So the Lord, even when we do some little endeavor to serve Him, He's enjoying. Because we are trying to harmonize our free will by our free will. Not by being forced, but by our free will to harmonize with Him. And that's the way for the real life, love, and for the real life and the real enjoyment in this material world. This is what we're supposed to do. This is what we're supposed to learn. And therefore, and it's very interesting, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that one of the names of Maya Devi is Kumuda. And Kumuda means, literally Kumuda means, Muda means enjoyment. Ku means bad enjoyment. Kumuda is somebody who gives bad enjoyment. Somebody who offers us, please enjoy, no problem. But it's bad. It's dirty. It's not nice. So Krishna gives your blessings. Now you will be called Kumuda, bad enjoyment. So, for anyone who can understand this, but for those who are clever, for those who are intelligent, she is Sharada. Sharada means the goddess of knowledge. She is Vidya Shakti. She can give you Vidya. She will give you the necessary knowledge which provides you the relief from this material world. She is Avidya Shakti. She provides your enjoyment and suffering in this material world, but she also has another aspect or another function. As a Vidya Shakti, she will provide you liberation and knowledge which will help you to serve the Lord. So we, as Prabhupada says, we are Shuddha Shaktas. We also enjoy or worship the energy of the Lord. How? By trying to connect the energy of the Lord with the source of this energy. By trying to connect, we're serving basically the love between Radha and Krishna. And because this is the pure love, if we try to serve sincerely this pure love, then we are worshipping both Krishna and his energy. And this is the ideal religious synthesis, which is not anywhere else but in Vaishnava religion, specifically in Lord Chaitanya's teaching, which is Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Only in this religion there is an ideal synthesis between the male and female, without diminishing of one principle over another principle. And that's why the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya is called Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Because only in this philosophy, even in other Vaishnava schools, even though the understanding of the relationship between the Lord and his energy is there, but it's still a little bit on the side of glorifying the Lord himself and diminishing the role of the energy. Only in the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord and his energy are completely, how to say this, completely equal players in their lila. And if we understand this and try to serve the lila, that's the real usage of our free will. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for being... So there's no time for questions, so how shall we do this? Yes.
Hare Krishna. The previous verse talked about Bhagavan Vishwatma Vidikpa Kamasayam Ayo Jaduna Nijanatana Yoga Mayam Samavisa. Krishna added Yoga Maya, spiritual potency. And there was a special job she was supposed to do.
Connection.
And she did her part, very well. Now these verses talk about benediction. It seems that she did her part very nicely. She did on spiritual platform, Yoga Maya, Paramasi. And in beginning, Krishna also has given benediction that he will also
be worshipped.
Jashodayam, Nandapatnyayam, Avishyasi, he will also appear in the room of Mother Jashoda. Just you will then, he will get like a status of my sister, and he will get like Nand bliss, he will reputation, he will be. So on the spiritual platform, this benediction we are talking this one, it shows that Paramasi on the spiritual part is Krishna is dragging her down, putting on the material state. So it appears that it is not benediction, it is not promotion, but it is part of like degradation or even punishment. To make this point like clear, suppose GBC chairperson calls one of his subordinate GBC and he gives it important. You accomplish this mission and then I will make you the temple commander of Chandigarh temple. Her position was very Paramasi on the spiritual path. And she did her part very nicely, transferring Balaram from name of Devi. And then Krishna this thing, Chandika, Kumbhika, and everything. It seems that it is punishment, not the reward, the degradation, not the promotion.
Okay, I'll try to answer your very difficult question. It's interesting, I was thinking before, when I read this verse, just recently we had this Navratri, when people worship the energy, 9 aspects of energy for 9 nights, and then Dussehra. And this Navratri comes just before Sharad Purnima. And Sharad Purnima or Ashwini Purnima is when Krishna says, Yoga Maya Upashritaha. He himself completely takes shelter of this Yoga Maya, of his energy. So there is a connection between these two, the aspects of material energy and the spiritual energy, which is Yoga Maya. And you gave a very nice example. And there is a even more vivid illustration of this when Srila Prabhupada came to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, or called Tamal Krishna Maharaj to him. And he said, you're doing very nicely, you're doing this Radha Damodar party, now you gave this up everything and go to China. So he had a great success in America. America was, and this Radha Damodar party had such a great success. There were buses and so many people were joining and it was flourishing. And Prabhupada says, no, you give this everything up and go to China. So, was it promotion or was it demotion? From the material point of view, you may say that it was a demotion, that he was demoted to this. But from the spiritual point of view, Prabhupada gave him more opportunities to serve. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj went to this strange land of China and started his China mission, which may become a very important mission for the whole ISKCON. So in one sense, it is demotion, yes, but Krishna also, by saying this verse, he also shows that this function of Maya in this material world, through the punishment of the jivas, but ultimately not punishment, but correcting the jivas, straightening the jivas, is very important for him. It's indeed, Krishna says, yeah, you are so expert. You can do so many wonderful things. So I'm giving you very difficult job. Correct all these wayward jivas in different places. Do it. It's maybe ungrateful, but it's very glorious in one sense. So that's a very glorious mission. So let's not undermine the importance of this mission. This is China mission of Durga Devi. Okay. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.